I want to introduce Ryan Zerakos. He's a SoCal native and attended the University of Southern California with a Navy scholarship as part of the NROTC program. After he graduated with a business degree, he was actually commissioned in the U.S. Navy's flight program. So nice little fun fact. So question for you, Ryan, can you fly? Can you fly a plane? Okay, that's a little sidebar question. Ryan settled back in SoCal in 2009, working in the e-learning industry. LinkedIn came along. So again, this is 2009. This was before COVID. This is before anything. So again, e-learning and these platforms have been around a long time. LinkedIn came alive 4.5 years ago. It's been around longer than that, but really started to come alive and fit perfectly with Ryan's passion for learning, giving him exactly what he needs to live out the LinkedIn ethos. Dream big and have fun and get stuff done. Now, working specifically with colleges and universities, it's his mission to make sure that every student knows how and why to use LinkedIn to create their own personal professional brand. So welcome, Ryan. We're going to watch a short video and Ryan will be sharing all of his golden nuggets with you.
All right. Hi, everybody. It is a pleasure to chat with you today. Tiana, thanks so much for that intro. I cannot fly, but I would love to fly. So maybe someday I'll get there. I actually ended up not being able to complete flight school training because of a minor injury. So a little fun fact about me. I'm super excited to be here today to chat with you all about LinkedIn. Take a few minutes to go over how to use LinkedIn from a student's perspective and from an entrepreneur's perspective. And so I'm going to take the next 30 minutes to go over the best practices, and then we'll have a few minutes for Q&A. So feel free to drop questions in the chat or questions for Q&A. I'm sure we'll be able to address those on the fly or at the end as well. A little bit about, just want to frame the discussion on why you should be on LinkedIn and what LinkedIn can do for you. LinkedIn is the world's largest professional network. We've got about 710 million members on LinkedIn now. We're growing at a rate of 3 new members per second, which is kind of crazy. We also have roughly 20 million job postings on LinkedIn. We've got 50 million company pages. So it's the best place for you to go to grow your career. And it's one of the best places for you to go to be when you have a company. You can create a company page. I'll show you how to do that real quickly. And you can actually build your brand on LinkedIn. So I'm sure you're going to be using a lot of different marketing tools and marketing automation tools, but LinkedIn might be a great place for you to build your brand as well. So we're going to focus on 3 things today. And the 3 things that we're going to focus on are establishing your profile, growing your network, and then posting content. Now, when you do those 3 things, you really transform your experience on LinkedIn. You really get the most out of it. But I want to focus on the difference between what LinkedIn is and what people think it is. LinkedIn is a social media platform. It is not a resume repository. It's not just a job board. It's a place for you to grow your career, and it's a place for you to be a daily destination. That's really what we're looking for, is for people to treat LinkedIn as a daily destination, kind of like you would other social media platforms. Granted, you're probably not going to be on LinkedIn as much as, if you're like me on Instagram, but you being on LinkedIn once a day for 15 to 20 minutes a day will really help you throughout your career. The other thing I want to focus on is the fact that your profile is supposed to be more of a story as opposed to just a resume. Sharing your story is going to really impact what you get out of LinkedIn and the kind of opportunities you get from LinkedIn. It is really easy to go down a rabbit hole on LinkedIn and try to say what people want to hear, like where you want to, what you want to do, what you want to be. But instead, I urge you to treat it more like a social media platform that is a professional platform where you can tell your authentic story. If you're an entrepreneur, you want to tell the story of your business and where you're going with your business. So think of it as a place for you to create your own personal professional brand. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into, I'm going to actually share my screen and I'm going to go live into LinkedIn instead of doing a slide deck, because slide decks are not quite as engaging as actually seeing the content on the fly. So bear with me while I share my screen. So you all should be able to see my screen. If you can't, for some reason, just put it in the chat so I can make sure that everybody can see it. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on a few different profiles of some students. So students a lot like you that are using LinkedIn and adapting to LinkedIn and taking some of the best practices we talked about. So I'm going to start with a student by the name of Ligel. She's currently a senior at San Francisco State by way of community college. She went to Pasadena City College. A couple of things about the profile that I think are missed, and that is that again, getting back to the fact that a lot of people think of LinkedIn as a resume repository. So they're trying to do everything in bullet points. They're trying to use LinkedIn like a cover letter. I want you to get away from that. If you leave here today, I hope that you leave here today with an understanding that your story is really what's going to differentiate you. Your story is really going to be what's compelling and it's going to help you grow your business and grow more connections and get that opportunity. Because that's really what differentiates you, in addition to obviously your skill set. So when we start with LinkedIn, the first thing that we look at is we look at a profile picture. You got to have a profile picture. It doesn't need to be a professional headshot. Let's get away from that idea that this thing has to be professional. What LinkedIn is trying to do is we're trying to level the playing field and make it fully accessible to anybody that has a mobile device. It's not accessible. It's not really right to think that every single person is going to have access to a professional photographer. So I want you to feel comfortable using your mobile device, taking a selfie, and just cropping out your head. It really just needs to be a headshot. 70% of LinkedIn traffic is on a mobile device, and so if you put too much of your body in there, you can't really see it on a phone. So that's step one. Step two is your background photo. Your background photo is where you can start your brand. Given that all of you, most of you on this call, I'm sure, are entrepreneurs, this is an opportunity for you to link back to your company, link back to your brand, start thinking about it that way. Now, if for some reason you don't have that set up yet and you're kind of working your way to that, I do feel strongly that you need a background photo because it starts shaping your image, right? Everybody knows that you really only have a few seconds to make a first impression. And when somebody comes to your landing page, when they come to your profile, what's the first thing they're going to see? They're going to see your picture and your background photo. It's going to stand out. And if you don't have one, it's kind of obvious. So real quick thing, real easy thing for you to do if you don't have a background photo right now in mind, is you go to the Me tab, click on View Profile. It brings up this section right here where you can click on your pencil and you can actually change that photo. You can upload a photo. So what you would do is you can upload a photo, save something to your computer. If you craft something on your own, again, that's a more of a branding for your business. That's perfect. You can also grab some of our material here. And if you want to show you're an ally to the Black Lives Matter movement or the LGBTQ movement, highly recommend it. Go ahead and grab one of these and post that on your profile. So it's really easy to actually start creating this image, this brand via LinkedIn by adding a background photo. The other thing that I want to point out that most people miss an opportunity missed for most people on LinkedIn is the opportunity to use this area, this headline area. Instead of doing what most students do and what most people do, which is put that their current job or where they're currently going to school, that is kind of obvious because it's right here, right? This is your current institution that you're studying, and then this is your current position. So this is an opportunity for you to actually take a second to talk aspirationally. Or if you're an entrepreneur, this is a great place for you to talk about your business and driving people to your business. So think about it as a place for your brand and what you want to accomplish when people land on your page. What do you want them to think about you instead of just where you are in your career? Now, the other thing I want to talk about, I want to focus on this for a few minutes, is I want to focus on the About section. I'm going to increase this in size because we're on Zoom, and so it might be a little bit easier for you to see. The bottom line is that what LinkedIn is trying to do now is be that place for you to share your story, be your authentic self. When you're your authentic self, it's more compelling. You have more people that are coming into your network that really understand who you are as a person. And that's always a good thing. So I want to show you a few different about sections so you can see how students are crafting their about sections to tell more of a story about themselves. In this case, Lugil talks about her her trials and tribulations getting into college, right? She talks. She says she believed she could, so she did. Is what my mom always tells me when I'm going through a rough patch. She talks about not having much confidence in herself, and she was working full time to help her family, and then she's going to community college part time. She missed some deadlines getting into college, but she kept pushing, and lifted herself from regret, applied again, and was able to get into San Francisco State. And now she's about to graduate. That is so much more of a compelling story than what most people do on LinkedIn, which is, I'm, a hardworking and dedicated individual, blah, 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 which is what you put on a cover letter, right? The best thing that you can do is to really think about how you want people to perceive you and what your story is. And all of us have a story. So I want you to be able to share that. I got a quick question in the chat, and we'll come to this in a bit about how you can take LinkedIn to generate sales and generate leads. I'll address that for sure. Um, but I want to focus right now on the profile because everything is going to come back to the profile. If you build a company page and you're pushing people to your company page through your profile, which is what most people are doing. You're going to be posting content on your company page and on your personal page. What do you think most people are going to do first? They're going to go to your profile. So you really want to have your profile set up in a way that is compelling and gives people an understanding of who you are and drops in some information about your company. So in this case, for all of you that are entrepreneurs, this featured section is a perfect place for you to put content about your company. What are you doing? What are you selling? Where are you going with your company? This can be just about anything. So what I mean by that is that you can upload a video, you can upload pictures, you can link to external content if you want to. Here's how easy it is to do that. So I'm going to go up to the Me tab, click on Me right here. I'm going to click on View Profile. And underneath View Profile, you notice here's when I did the background photo. If you scroll down here, you see the featured section. All you have to do is click on this plus, and you can link to posts that you've done on LinkedIn. You can link to external articles. You can link to other web content. Again, if you have a landing page for your business, you should be linking that landing page to your business on LinkedIn, right? So anybody that goes to your page, you can click on that LinkedIn link and go to your page. The other thing you can do is you can upload media and different types of documents like that. So in my opinion, what I would do if I were you is I would record a video. Basically, when anybody lands on your page, they have a chance to see a video where you're doing a 30-second elevator pitch on why they should be doing business with you. What is your business all about, right? That is a perfect opportunity for you to drive business to your business through LinkedIn. And you can see it's really easy to do. That actually takes me to the next step. I was going to cover the featured section, and super important with the featured section. And then finally, under the experience section. The experience section right here is where you're going to put that you're a CEO, you're an entrepreneur, and you're going to be able to put information about your organization, about your company. Once again, in this experience section, one of the things that you can do in the experience section is you have the ability to link to content. So look at what I've done here on mine. You have the ability to tell a story because it's not a resume. It's an ability for you to tell a story about what you're doing, share what you're doing with your organization, why you decided to create a company, what your company is all about. And then you can actually link directly to products. You can link directly to websites. You can upload a video. It's all that good stuff. All right. Now, one of the things that I want to focus on with regard to the profile, and again, not to belabor the point, but is to really use your voice, right? Really use your authentic voice. So you saw what Lugil posted here. I'm going to show you Tammy. Tammy is another student that I've been working with, and you see her background photo and her picture, and she talks about when she was 7, how Harry Potter taught her English when she immigrated to the Bay Area. The bottom line is that what I love about what I love about Tammy's post here is that she's really being authentic. She's owning the fact that she's an immigrant, which tells a lot about your story, right? Tells a lot about where you come from and what you do. One of the things that I firmly believe that you really can't buy resiliency, right? You have to go through stuff to become resilient. You can't buy a work ethic. You can't buy leadership. And so these are the types of things that your story, where what you've done through your life, how they framed you and your perspective. When you share that on LinkedIn, it's again much more compelling, and you're more likely to get people to be engaged with you and engaged with your company when you are that way, right? So I just want you to think about how you're going to craft your story. Everybody has a story. Think about how you're going to craft it. Put it in your about section. And the beauty about the community college and going to the community colleges, there are a lot of resources for you. So if you're not a great writer, like I'm not a great writer, you know, put your thoughts on paper, or online or somewhere, and send them to somebody that you do consider a good writer. Bounce your ideas off other people so that when you do craft your story on LinkedIn, you feel really comfortable with it, that it really encapsulates you. Another thing I recommend is that you ask people that are close to you, what is your impression of me? What is your impression of my business? Right? If you could use three words to describe it, what would they be? Make sure that they're describing it in the right way, right? The way that you want to come across. If they're not, what you want to do is figure out how to change that brand to come across the right way. If they are articulating the right way, that's great. Now you can actually go down the path and solidify your brand in that way. Okay, that is step one. That is where you are actually, putting your profile out there and giving yourself the best opportunity by creating a profile and being your authentic self. The next thing I want to talk about is growing your network. Growing your network is very, very important. If you don't grow your network, the platform isn't going to work as well for you. Let's also remember that you've all heard this saying, it's not just what you know, it's who you know, right? I mean, that's just the bottom line. So in today's day and age, like back when I was younger, networking meant you went to an event and you shook people's hand and you took their business card and you emailed them. Obviously with COVID, nobody's doing that now, but even before that, I mean, networking now is more virtual. Think about all of those other social media platforms that you're on, whether it's Insta or TikTok or, Snap. Where would those people be, those influencers be, if they had nobody in their network? They have no followers. They wouldn't do very well, right? In fact, on Instagram, I think you can buy followers. You can't do that on LinkedIn. What you want to do is you want to grow your network so that you have so many people in your network that are connected to you or following you, that when you're posting content and you can drive people to your business. And that's the name of the game at the end of the day. And LinkedIn is a very good opportunity for you to do that. Now you can grow your network organically by maybe searching the college that you're in and connecting with those alumni. So if we wanted to go here to El Camino College, let's say, right? So we're going to go to El Camino College and take a look at some of the students here. We've got 43,000 former students, alumni that are on LinkedIn. What can you do with this information? Well, the first thing you can do is you can click on this alumni tab. And on this alumni tab, we pull up all of these alumni. We tell you where they live in the country, where they work. We tell you what they do for a living and what they studied. So here you have the ability to actually go in and find people that are working for the company that you're interested in working for. Or if you're an entrepreneur, you can find people that are entrepreneurs or CEOs and connect with them. Super easy to do. Once you narrow it down, so let's say you're only looking for people that are in LA, and you're only looking for people that are entrepreneurs, or business development or whatever that may be, or studied what you're studying. Let's just focus on what you're studying. So let's say you're studying business. You've got 3,000 people from which to choose, right? And you can come down here and you can click on their name, right? And you can add a note. Super easy to do this. You say you're a current student, you're trying to grow your network, right? I wouldn't necessarily use this to farm for business. That's not really what LinkedIn is about with the alumni section. We have a different tool called the Sales Navigator tool that allows you to actually use LinkedIn for a more sales approach. If you're interested in that, just reach out to me. I'll be happy to tell you about it, but that is not free. This alumni tab and alumni tool is really meant for you to personally grow your network organically. You can reach out to 4 or 5 people a day and try to grow your network. The other thing that you can do is you can actually follow different companies. You can follow other thought leaders. If you all know Gary Vee, let me see if I remember how to. There it is, Gary Vee. If you wanted to follow Gary Vee, you could do that. I'm already following him, or else it would say follow right here. So you can follow other thought leaders, see what they're posting on LinkedIn, and interact with the feed that way. It's super easy to do. It's just like any other social media platform. It just gives you an opportunity to grow your network and see what other thought leaders are doing. And again, LinkedIn is singularly focused on creating economic opportunity for everybody. And economic opportunity basically means making money, right? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to help people get a job, help people with their business, help people get sales, things like that. So the more that you're on LinkedIn, the more that the network is going to work for you. So growing your network is really, really important. The fourth, I am educated. The third and final thing I want to talk about for the next few minutes before we jump into Q&A is that posting content is really what's going to drive the needle, which is going to move the needle. And posting content is very easy to do. So I'm going to go back to the homepage here, and I'm going to click on Start a Post. When you start a post, you can talk about anything you want to. Now, because we're talking to entrepreneurs here, I want to give you a little bit of insight into some online marketing, digital marketing methodologies. It's nothing major, but it's something that I learned about the other day, and you may have already heard about it, but it is the 411 marketing methodology. When you are posting content to a social media platform, you should, for every 6 items that you post, 4 of them should be giving back to the community. 4 things about giving back to the community. I read an interesting article about this, or you're bumping somebody else's posts, you're sharing somebody else's posts, giving back to the community 4 times when you're sharing other people's content. 1 post should be about your company, and then another post should be about what you're selling. So when you think about the 411 marketing methodology, it's 4 posts giving back to community, 1 post about your company, 1 post about your product that you're trying to sell. You're trying to drive sales. The reason for that is you don't want to bombard the community with, here's my company, here's my company, here's what I'm trying to sell, here's what I'm trying to sell, right? You want to make it more organic. So what we do here, quickly and easily, right, is let's say you've read an interesting article, and I can pull up any article I want to. So I'm just going to pull up LA Times just for the sake of it. I'm going to copy this URL, and I'm going to paste this URL right here into the post. Now, what that does is it's going to bring in a thumbnail image. I can delete this URL because I don't need it anymore. I've already got the thumbnail image, and so people can click on that, and then you can write up a post, right? Just read this article and what you want to talk about it. You also have the ability to tag people. So if you want to tag, anybody, you can tag people that are in your network. You can tag people that are out of your network. You can tag anybody you want to. And so the bottom line is you can delete their last name if you want to make it more, flowing in the post and make it sound a little bit less formal. You can also hashtag. So if you want to hashtag different things, my opinion, if you've got a business, you should create a business hashtag, and you should be posting one hashtag should be your business hashtag all the time so that people can find it and follow it. You can upload pictures, you can record videos and post that to LinkedIn. You can actually upload documents. So depending on what you're selling, what your business is, you could put a business document up there and drive people to your post. It's really easy to do this. And the more often that you're on LinkedIn, the more engaged. Now, I want to tell you something about LinkedIn and why LinkedIn can be a big deal for you. When people are on LinkedIn, they're thinking about their professional career. They're not thinking about like other social media platforms where it's all fun and games and you're thinking about what you had for lunch and vacation and stuff like that. On LinkedIn, you're thinking about your professional career. And so you're in a business mindset. So you have an opportunity to drive people to your business through LinkedIn. it is feasible to do that. And the more often that you post, the more your network will grow and the more that network will work for you. Now, real quickly, in the last couple of minutes that I have, I want to show you how easy it is to create a company page. All you do is on the home page, you click on the work tab, you scroll down to the bottom, and you click on create company page. And then most of you, I'm assuming, are going to be small businesses. So you click on small business and LinkedIn will walk you through creating a company page. You have to have a personal LinkedIn profile and it will be attached to your personal LinkedIn profile. The two will be together. Once you're posting content on the company page, you can see any company page in here, right? So, I mean, if we go to Netflix, company pages have a lot of great information, right? It's got information where you can talk about your company. It's got information on you can put on the lifestyle of your company and things like that. If you have jobs and you want to post jobs, you can put that on there. If you want to upload videos, you can do that as well. So a company page is pretty powerful, and the fact that you can do that for free on LinkedIn, I feel is it's kind of a no-brainer for anybody that is an entrepreneur and going to be trying to drive business to their business. So that was a pretty quick overview of how to use LinkedIn from a student's perspective. I'm happy to go into more detail about some of the things that we discussed, but I just wanted to really give you a quick overview now and then take the next 5 or 10 minutes to do a quick Q&A. So with that, Tiana.
Yes. I'll give you a hand. Well, you can't really see my hand, so I'm going to clap in front
I
of my
can.
face so you can see, because you know the virtual backgrounds. So we actually we have some questions for you. So first, as an advocate of LinkedIn, I literally do everything that Ryan just described. Now, do I do it well? We have to reevaluate that. I think I do pretty good. From a business standpoint, I generate my sales, most of my referrals and sales actually come from a LinkedIn platform or people that I've met. So I've been writing LinkedIn way before the Instagrams and all of that stuff. And so I'm always a huge advocate for it. But we have a question from Kimberly Bowen. And her question was, it says, let me just scoot over here. It says she has 15 years of employment history. Excuse me. She has 15 years of employment history, and she started a business. Should I, speaking for Kimberly, have a separate profile for my business separate from my personal?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think you should not. LinkedIn doesn't want you to have multiple personal profiles. So we don't like that. We eliminate fake profiles. And so we don't really appreciate multiple profiles. And plus it makes it a little bit confusing for you. I would create the company page like I showed you, connected to your LinkedIn profile, which is fine. Now remember, when you're on your company page, um, people aren't going to be, if you don't want people to connect to your personal profile, then it's not a big deal because you won't necessarily have to drive them there. Behind the scenes, LinkedIn knows that the company page is tied to your personal profile, but not necessarily on the front end if you don't want people to know about it. So let's say you have your 15 years of work experience and you're doing your work. You can leave your personal profile, all work, all your current job, and then you can create your company page and nobody will know the two are together unless you actually drive people to the two. So I hope that answers your question. I wouldn't necessarily create a second profile.
Good information. Good information. Thank you. We have another question that came through the chat from Ewan. Please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. How do you use LinkedIn to generate sales? And I think that was a question that you kind of peeked at earlier, Ryan. So how can you use LinkedIn to generate sales? And I think you talked a little bit about that Sales Navigator piece. Mm-hmm. Elaborate for us.
Yeah, there are a couple of things that you can do without that don't cost anything. Sales Navigator does cost, and we do have a new option where you can pay monthly for small business. So you might want to try it. So what Sales Navigator allows you to do, it allows you to search a lot. So you can search different people and you can message them without being connected, and that is kind of cool. So you can get granular with your search and try to bring in leads. But for the most part, if you're an entrepreneur, what I think it's about branding. It's about consistent messaging. And again, it's about that 411 methodology I was talking about. It's about posting content on your company page and posting content on your personal page, tagging people, doing the organic things you would normally do on other social media profiles so that people eventually see the message and click on your company page to find out what you're doing. So it's more of an organic thing. We're not in the platform of actually facilitating transactions, but we are in the platform. The platform is great to get people to connect with you and go to your company page and get to know who your company is. So I hope that answers your question.
And content, it sounds like the value, again, what you're offering, the content. I know recently I posted something, it was like a short video, and honestly, it was like one of my lowest rated views that I got, in my opinion, but the content was rich. And so I actually got a direct message into my LinkedIn box about an opportunity for 2021, about a speaking opportunity. And there I was thinking that it was, oh, it's only gotten so many views in comparison to this, but the content was valuable. So again, great platform. Here's a question from Rosa Maria, came through the chat. And I think you addressed this, Ryan, but I think this is a good place to start because I think people have an idea of what LinkedIn is for, and they may not use it as often. And so her question was, how active, let me read it. The question is, how active do you need to be on LinkedIn? And will it hurt you, or will you not be taken seriously if you're not active? Okay, so I'm paraphrasing her question, but essentially that's, I think, the essence. Like if you have a dormant account, you're not active, will it hurt you? Will people see you as not being serious or taken seriously?
That's a good question. So there are two schools of thought here. One is for folks like me that are not entrepreneurs and students that are looking to get into industry. I feel like, the more that you're active on LinkedIn, the better chances you're going to have to get a job. If you're an entrepreneur and you're not really active on LinkedIn and you're not really driving people to LinkedIn and you're building your business, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think you're missing an opportunity, but I don't think people are going to go to your LinkedIn platform and think, oh, you don't know what you're doing because you're not using it that often. I think it's a little bit different for you. Now, to your first question, how often should you be on LinkedIn? It's really once a day. We want LinkedIn to be a daily destination. Once a day, 15 minutes a day. That's all you need. That's more than what most people are doing. You can jump on your phone, scroll through your phone, thumb up, like a couple of like and comment on a couple of posts to help other people out, share a couple of posts, and do your thing. Tiana's story really was encapsulates what LinkedIn can do for you. The more that you post on LinkedIn, the more opportunity is going to come to you. Period. That's just a fact, right? I mean, that's what social media does. The other thing that you can do when you're posting content is by posting content regularly, you automatically become a subject matter expert, right? Because you're thinking about what you want to say, you're crafting it, and you're saying it. And so over time, people see that. That's what happens with Tiana. She didn't get the opportunity in a vacuum. They didn't just see that one video. They're going to go to your profile, they're going to take a look at you, and they're going to get to see more background information. They get to see more about your company. So anytime, I mean, you think about marketing, you think about branding. Why do you think we see commercials for Nike and Adidas and all these companies over, insurance companies over and over and over again? You see why? You want to be top of mind. So at the end of the day, that's what you can do with LinkedIn as well, is be top of mind. One post a day, one post is all you need. In fact, more than one post, meaning your own post, not commenting, but one post a day is all you need to do on LinkedIn. And that's not a heavy lift.
And I'm going to add to that. Is there a certain time of day that's more preferable, like peak seasons? I know there were studies done about that. Just curious.
Yeah, we have a product called Elevate that you can get. It's very inexpensive, and what it will do is it'll actually post this to it'll put your post. You can do a post ahead of time, and then it'll drop it in your feed at the proper time. For the most part, business hours, Monday through Friday. That's when most people are on LinkedIn. Business hours, Monday through Friday.
So Elevate. So if that's something, maybe someone can type that in the chat box, get more info. We do have time for a couple more questions. Someone asked in the question box, Diana, and she specifically had the question on follow or connect. So you have followers or you have connections. And her question is, why can't you contact your follower? And she gives an example of sometimes you can leave message for contacts or connections, but not always with followers. So she, I think, wanted a little bit more clarity on follow, connect, why one more or the other, right, and why some features are available and not.
Sure, that's a great question. The difference between following and connecting is that when you connect with somebody, they've decided to include you in their network. So it's a two-way street. So Tiana and I are connected. And that means I follow her, she follows me. She's given me permission to message her whenever I want. I've given her permission to message me whenever I want. That's the beauty of a connection. Now, let's say Tiana's she's an like Gary Vee, right? Gary Vee has millions of people. He's not going to connect with millions of people. He's going to put himself out there and let you follow him. Following is a one-way street. It means I follow him. He has no idea what I'm doing. So anything that he posts, I see on my feed. Anything that I post, he'll never see because he's got his own followers. That's the other thing. When Tiana and I are actually connected, what I post goes on her feed. What she posts goes on my feed. So you want to connect with people as often as possible. You don't want to follow people unless they are like high level, high visibility people that don't necessarily want to connect with you.
Ooh, that's really good, Ryan. That was, I knew that, but I think the way you just really put it in very, very plain terms, like that you can see their stuff. They not checking for you. They're not looking at your stuff.
No.
And you know that, but it's like, okay, now it's clear.
Right.
Okay, so we do have some time for some more questions. We're doing good. So we have another question from Diana, actually two more. How do you get more details about who viewed your post without tagging specific people? So make sure that I read that. How do you get more details about who viewed your post without tagging specific people?
We used to be so under the notifications, it lets you know when people are viewing your post. So as soon as you do that, and we do give you some analytics. We'll let you know how many people have viewed it, and we'll let you know some information about where they are. But GDPR, so the global data privacy regulations came down, and we want to be very cognizant of people's privacy. So we don't really get super granular. Plus, there's so many posts on LinkedIn all the time, it's really difficult. So I don't think we have any analytics that are going to let you say, okay, you did this post, and then Ryan checked this post at this time. We don't have that, but we do in the notifications tab let you know what kind of reach your post has had. So we'll let you know again how many people it is, and then kind of where they're located in the country, what kind of jobs that they have. So it gives you that kind of information.
I know that usually when I post something and someone will like it, if they're in my network, obviously you'll have access to that. Or if they're not, you see who they're, and I just click on their profile page, and most of the time you can actually see them. So Diana, I think your second question seems like he might have answered that. Just type in the chat box. Let me know if you feel your second or your third question was answered. I'm gonna ask another question, which is from Richard, and he says, "Can you limit the content that is available for everyone to see?" I know the answer to that. Or does everyone have access to it, to the profile?
Yeah, we do have privacy settings. Going into the settings tab, you can actually limit it, but the deal is it's an all or nothing, right? So you can't just limit it to you either limit it to only your connections can see it, or nobody can see it, or everybody can see it. Remember that LinkedIn's ethos is for transparency and honesty. Again, we eliminate 99% of fake profiles. We want to be a different platform that earns your trust. The whole point of being on LinkedIn is so that people connect with you and follow you and see your content. It's the point is more transparency, because the more transparency you have, the more people that see your profile, the more economic opportunity can come your way. And that's just a fact, right? So if you're posting content and you don't want people to see it, it's going to be a little bit more difficult on LinkedIn.
Very good. And then we have a question from an anonymous person who says, when giving back to the community, should I promote? So I guess he may be thinking about the 411. Mm-hmm. Should I promote people within the same area of business, or can I promote businesses I'm familiar with?
Yeah, I think you promote anybody that you feel comfortable with. If you don't want to promote your competition, I get it, right? But if you want to promote your industry, then you might want to promote that. And it could be anything, right? I mean, it could be anything. You could be reading content outside of your industry. Maybe you're working on learning how to market your business as an entrepreneur. What great content you could put on LinkedIn is you could be like, hey, I've been studying about how to market small businesses, and I read this interesting article. I wanted to share it with my network. And you can tag other entrepreneurs, right? This is not necessarily about your business, but it's about giving back to the community, showing that you care about others, and building up your brand. So think outside of the box. It doesn't always have to be driving business to your business. It's about putting yourself out there as a person who is part of the fabric of LinkedIn and a fabric of the community.
One technique that I learned, Ryan, from a friend of mine is so I do a lot of training and development, and I'll take pictures, even virtually, but usually in person. And you know how you take a picture and you put it up there, you're like, oh, I just did such and such, or, hey, look at me, I did this training, or hey, whatever it is, right? It's usually I-centered or like us focused. And a friend of mine, he used to write these beautiful posts, and I was like, how do you do that? And so he said, well, I make it about the company. So he would go onto their website and find out who they are. And it says ABC organization for over 100 years has been dedicating their time and blah, blah, blah. And then he would tag his business, and the XYZ Corporation was honored to partner with their team on effective communication, and then a couple of hashtags, but it was always centered on the company, which made the company look good. And it was just brilliant. And I started adopting that. So when I post, I always lead in with a company, like a shout out to them and a little small liner about us, because I want to keep it about them. So that was a little tip for me. So Diana clarified her question. And so she says she basically wants to know, how can she, let me read it. She would like to know when her connections view her post so that she can respond if she wants to. So are there notifications? How will she know when her connections view her post so that she can respond?
Yeah, in the notifications tab, whenever somebody views your post, you actually get a notification that says somebody viewed your post. So you'll be able to go right into your notifications tab, and you'll be able to see the person that viewed your post. It kind of happens pretty quickly, but yeah, you can see that. So that's cool.
Is that something that requires activation, or is it automatic? Because I don't know if it's automatic. Okay,
automatic. So yeah, it's automatic. So you'll notice, I kind of threw this, but if you're on LinkedIn right now, on the top ribbon, it says home, my network, jobs, messaging, and then it says notification. It looks like a little bell. And anytime you post, your notifications will go off very quickly.
Yes, and I use those. Like I said, I'm an advocate, Ryan. I think I need to be like an off the clock ambassador for LinkedIn.
Sold. Done.
Because I've been pushing LinkedIn for years, and I love it. And I'm active probably more than 20 minutes. But all in all, there were some good nuggets that Ryan provided. I learned some stuff, and I thought I had LinkedIn down. Here's a quick and easy. I like to use acronyms or things, but I looked at 3 Ps. It's your profile, which is your image and your story. It's your personal professional brand, right, which combines with your network, and then you're posting content. So again, it's the value and things that you bring. Remember the 411 that he talked about, being organic, being your true self. And I think if anything else resonated was that's it. There's a story that you have, and be organic with your flow and be you. So is everybody invited to connect with you, Ryan, on LinkedIn?
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop my LinkedIn profile in the chat right now. And you all are more than welcome to connect with me. Just click on that link and you can hit connect.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan. We can see the beautiful artwork that Alina did. And I know she took it away real quick, but it was some beautiful artwork that she did to capture all of your nuggets. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us.